Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I hope you've all gotten enough breakfast. Please feel free to get some more. My name is Courtney Lem. I'm a 2L student here at the law school, and I'm the Volume 11 Editor-in-Chief of the Law Review. I know many of you have traveled very far to be here today, so on behalf of the Law Review, thank you for being here to discuss consumer protection in the age of the student debt crisis. Student debt is one of the most pressing issues today, affecting tens of millions of people throughout our country. The burdens that student debt imposes on borrowers can often feel or be impossible to overcome. Many students here at UCI Law, as well as those in the Consumer Law Clinic, have been able to get firsthand experience advocating on behalf of borrowers who have been exploited by predatory lending practices. These experiences have made clear just how difficult it can be dealing with debt service companies and how helpless it can make borrowers feel. And many students here at UCI, the questions surrounding student debt are front and center in our lives. Questions about how much debt can I take on? How long will it take to pay off? Can I even pay off this amount of debt with a career I want to go into? You see, many students here on campus are committed to a career in public service. We have robust pro bono programs that allow us to get direct client experience and student-run organizations that support students in their pursuit to become public interest lawyers. But when we see statistics that show us just how few students have their loans discharged under programs such as the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, it makes careers in public service seem less financially feasible. When programs that are supposed to protect consumers fail, and when debt service companies are able to put law students in vulnerable financial positions, it not only affects the students, but it affects their future clients. Clients who are already in vulnerable financial positions deserve to have lawyers who can afford to give them their all. So when Professors Glader and Jimenez approached the Law Review with the prospect of having a symposium focusing on these issues, we knew it would be a remarkable event. We're excited to support the discourse fostered here today by publishing an issue dedicated to this symposium. And we hope that your scholarship is used to shape a brighter and more equitable future for all those in debt, and we are grateful that we have an opportunity to be a part of it. Thank you all for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our most wonderful dean, Song Richardson.
Good morning, everyone. First, I just have to say how unbelievably proud it makes me to have an editor-in-chief of the Law Review like Courtney, who you just heard from. And thank you so much for those powerful words that you just shared with all of us. If we can just give Courtney a hand. So I will likely repeat, Courtney, some of what you have already said. And first, though, I just want to welcome all of you here for this incredibly important conversation that you'll have today. And my only regret is that I won't be able to spend the day with you because these are issues as the dean of a law school in a system that is currently thinking about tuition and tuition increases. It is something that is on my mind all the time for the reasons that Courtney mentioned earlier in her comments. And it's the reason that you're all here today, especially at a school like UCI Law that prides itself on public service and training students to do work in the public interest and to do social justice work. And the type of crushing debt that students have today really does constrain the choices that students have for the types of careers that they might want to pursue. That is one of the costs of the debt problem, this national crisis that we have today. A crisis that, of course, is widely recognized as a crisis, but still, surprisingly, remains understudied and not very well understood, which is what makes this day so important. And we have decided as a society, at least now, that although it is important for students to take advantage of educational opportunities that they have available to them, the cost of those opportunities are borne solely by them. And these are things that we need to ask ourselves as a society, as an institution of higher education, because obtaining a higher education helps us all, right? It helps our society, it helps our economy, it helps our communities, as Courtney said. And so how can we solve this problem? We talked, and Courtney mentioned some of the costs and some of them of student loan indebtedness, and we know some of the obvious costs that exists. We have these unsustainable repayment obligations, and when students are unsurprisingly able to keep up with those payments, the cost is, we know what the costs are, right? Ruined credit, defaults. These are things we need to think about, but there are also harms, some of which Courtney also mentioned, that aren't as obvious, like choosing a career that isn't the career that you dreamt about doing, choosing a career solely so you can pay off your debt obligations, or students even, and I've spoken to some of these students, putting off major life investments in housing, family, parenthood, or even essentials such as health and food. These are the difficult choices that our students have to make. So when we start thinking about then, what are the appropriate state and national policy responses to what really is one of the biggest civil rights crises that we face today? What are those policy solutions? That is what all of you are here today to discuss, and I'm so thrilled that we at UCI Law are able to welcome you here to engage in that critically important conversation. So this event is the culmination of months and months of work. I'm reading all of this because I don't want to forget anyone, and I'm sure I will, so I apologize in advance for that. But it's months and months of work, probably more than months, maybe years of work in the making, actually. For some of you, exactly. And this work was put in by the Student Loan Law Initiative at UCI Law. And that includes the work of two of my brilliant colleagues who are sitting here in the front of the room, Professors Glader and Professor Dalier Jimenez. Sorry, Jonathan Glader. I should mention your first name, too. Just a professor. And also the staff at the Student Borrower Protection Center. So I'd like to thank them. I'd like us to thank them, as well as the staff of the UCI Law Review, the students who are here, the faculty who are also here, and all the staff and administrators and the video recorders at the back. Thank all of you, because this event would not have been possible but for all of the work that you have put in. So can we give everyone a hand, please? And we are honored to host this event and the Student Loan Law Initiative project. So let me just say a few words about this project. It is the first of its kind collaboration that's focused on student loans, an issue that is truly the consumer financial protection crisis of our time. And the Student Loan Law Initiative is helping us to fill critical gaps in research and our understanding of these issues by bringing together both scholars and practitioners to answer some of the very critical questions that were raised by Courtney this morning in her welcoming remarks. So they answer the critical questions about how did we get here and where do we go from here? Those are the very important conversations I know you will have today. And I'm particularly proud to say that all of the papers that will result from this conference, as Courtney mentioned, will be published in our UC Irvine Law Review. And I believe that this is the first law review I'm going to add, and people are going to look at me and they're going to be very nervous, but I'm going to say it, the first law review in the country to dedicate a volume dedicated solely to questions of student loan law and consumer protection. So I want to thank all of you for being here, and once again, I hope that you have an incredible and very productive day as you talk about these pressing and critical issues for our students and for our society welcome. Thank you so much from traveling from everywhere that you've traveled to be here today. And I only wish that I could be here, but I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you.